What makes the good life the good life? This podcast is on a mission to find out. So join us as we explore the Heartland's best and most honest voices. Venture to all four corners of York County, because when it comes to quality of life, it's all about keeping it local. Brought to you by the York County Development Corporation, this is 17 County.
Thank you for joining us today. Be sure to like, subscribe, and review the podcast. Doing so helps grow the podcast, helps grow our listeners, and we really appreciate that. We got to get through Google and Spotify's algorithm, so leaving those reviews really helps out with that. We'd also like to take the time to thank our members and investors. Without these member investors, we wouldn't be able to do what we do here at YCDC. So I'd like to thank Cornerstone Bank, MPPD, York State Bank, Collins Aerospace, Henderson State Bank, Airs and Airs, and Patina Studios. Just been some great supporters over the years. Yeah, members can be seen at the member directory page at yorkdevco.com. That's yorkdevco.com. And so now we'll get into the interview. Today I'm joined by not just one guest, but two. One guest moved here early on in their career, and the other was just kind of along for the ride. Kelly grew up in South Dakota, but found his way down Highway 81 to Columbus, and eventually planting his roots here in York. Tyler was along for the ride at that point in time, just being a kid. And in 1998, Kelly decided to start A Construction. And in right around 2016, Tyler decided to come along for the ride. And so, welcome to the show today, guys.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Perfect. So, first thing we're going to do is kind of a little segment, kind of loosen everything up. We're going to talk about, we're going to have like a little 3-on-3, and it's going to be your top 3 versus your least favorite 3 beer brands is going to be the topic this time. So I'll kind of go first. My least favorite are going to have to be Dauel's. I just think that's disgusting. Why would you ever want that? Keystone. Had too much of that at one point in time, so I can no longer go back to that. And then Bud Light. Ever since they changed the recipe, it just does not sit well with me. So I don't really enjoy any of that. So how about you guys? You guys got like a bottom 3 that just kind of come to mind?
I'll let Tyler talk about this one.
Oh, thanks. Bottom 3. I don't know if I really have a bottom 3. I kind of like all beer. I used to hate Old Milwaukee Light, but my father-in-law drinks that, so now I drink it. And I don't have a bottom 3.
As long as it's cold and, this is good.
Cold and beer is good.
All right, so what about a top 3? Do you have like a 3 that you have to reach for? You got to have like at least a couple that you kind of reach for. Or something like that.
I do like Corona on a hot summer day, or a cold Busch Light. So
there you go.
Yep.
There you go.
Those are probably my top. And I like Keystone.
Oh, you're a Keystone fan? Oh, man. Jeez Louise. What can we do with you? Kelly, what about you? Do you have anything that came to mind?
No, I'm good on that.
Perfect. So we'll jump right into the interview then here. So first up, tell us a little bit, Kelly, about what it was like growing up in Roscoe, South Dakota.
Small rural town up in north central South Dakota, about 300 people. Graduated from a class of 13 and grew up on a farm, just spent a lot of hours in the field, and we pretty much fixed everything, didn't take anything to get work done, so kind of was in a lot of trades as far as that goes, and just I guess that's about it. It was small town living.
Any activities kept you busy? Did you do like football, basketball?
No, did not do sports or anything like that. Just
stay busy on the farm.
And I got a kick out of getting up at 4 a.m. and going out in the field and getting a bunch of work done before I went to school.
Any siblings out there on the farm that make life a little bit easier? Doing chores?
There was a group of us kids. There was 7 of us in the family.
Oh man!
5 sisters that are older and one younger brother.
So they really wanted the boy. They
Yep.
kept trying.
Yep. So it's all good. Was there, graduated there, and then after that got married and ended up moving down to Columbus. The wife at the time, her sister lived there, and we were looking for a job and went down there and worked for Becton Dickinson Medical Manufacturing Company.
Oh yeah.
I made insulin needles.
Okay.
And,
that's that big plant, the BD plant there. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep. So for a farm kid, that was not my thing. So
I had no idea what that
it was
is.
good benefits and it was a job, but I ended up working, putting an ad in the paper and working for a farmer feeder up there for 5 or 6 years. Just got to be friends with him too. We still get a beef from him every year.
No prior connection, just kind of reached out and...
No, he answered my ad when I put an ad in the paper that I was from a farm and wanting to do some part-time work. And he called me up and drove out and met him and it went from there.
That's a crazy... You don't hear much of that anymore. Someone putting an ad in the paper to get hired anymore. You don't hear much of that
No,
anymore.
I wish people would. I wouldn't be calling it.
You wouldn't be calling as many people.
Yeah. So, anyway, got to know some people down here in New York from living in Columbus, and that's when they said, like, well, there's a lot of construction work needed to be done here. If you felt the need, you wanted to venture out and start down here. So that's how I ended up moving down here. Is just packed up and started out. Didn't have any money to speak of and no tools to speak of.
Had you done any like real? I mean, I suppose you've done some on the side, but like, what was your like biggest project up until that time? Like, as far as like just some like siding jobs or like a bathroom renovation?
Barely any of that.
Barely even any of that. Wow.
Fixing feedlot fences. So anyway, I would start out by doing anything that come along. Decks. Rebuilt decks, built new decks, siding, a lot of siding, soffit, fascia on houses. Just kept busy with that, and one thing led to another. Ended up building my first house. My own personal house was my first house ever built. And that was in 2001. We were just finishing it up when 9/11 of 2001 happened. Date we all remember, and then we moved in that next month, and from there, I've just been building houses, more houses, more houses.
So self-taught the whole way, never any like...
Learned a lot from a lot of different people I worked with.
Yeah.
Just took different things that were helpful, that looked easy, that somebody was doing, and just implemented that with what we did and put it all together. So
that's pretty neat, yeah.
So anyway, I guess that's basically my story.
Your journey here to York.
Yeah.
Cool. Tyler, talk to me a little bit about growing up here in York. What was it kind of like? I guess, yeah, even take it back. What was it like, I guess, coming from Columbus? I guess if you remember any of that. I know it was in kindergarten when you
briefly
moved here. But a little bit about tell me what you remember from Columbus and then moving here to York.
Yeah, I remember Dad working on the farm in Columbus, and then asked us, "Hey, what do you think about moving to York?" And I said, "Sure." I didn't know any different, So yeah, packed up and moved here, and started middle of kindergarten would have been when we moved down this way. So started in there and been here ever since, with the exception of a few years when I met my wife. So
definitely. So York as a kid, what was that kind of like?
Oh, it was pretty good. Got to meet a lot of people and hang out, and obviously I knew you. We were in the same class, so that was kind of fun. But didn't do a whole lot of extracurricular activities. I suppose I like to work and have my money for that, and then have fun on the side too. I guess.
I always remember you as a hunter, always an avid outdoorsman. You always liked being stuck inside. Just was not for you. It always seemed like.
No, I did not like to be stuck inside. So I didn't really do a lot of the sports stuff. I worked and then hunted and played, and that was about it.
The one thing I remember is our mothers were in the parent club together. And
they were.
We were in charge of babysitting, so nothing better than putting 2 6-year-olds in charge of a bunch of 3-year-olds.
Yeah, it was great. Yeah,
it was always a good time.
It was.
So yeah, you mentioned you had some hobbies. So mainly, what were some of those things, and then a little bit about your kind of first work experience.
Yeah, first work experience. Worked actually at Sonic. I just lived up the hill from there, and so I rode my bike down there, and
you had to ride your bike back up the hill.
Back up the hill was the worst part, yeah. And rode my bike down to work one day, and apparently they had closed up shop and didn't tell anybody, so I turned around and went home and had to go find me a different job. So then I went to work at Grand Central at the deli for a little bit, and then Ace Hardware, True Value at the time.
Yeah, no, and that was a great little exposure, to that kind of that world.
Yeah, so that's kind of what I did for there, and then after I went to college, at Milford Southeast Community College. Went there for building construction, and came back, and then I moved to Meade and met my wife.
How long were you down in Meade for?
It was about 5 years, I think, 4 or 5 years maybe total. Yeah.
And then were you construction what was your major there at Milford?
I think it was building construction technologies. So
Okay.
you learned a little bit about everything, and then when you got done with your schooling, you went out to the work field and learned the rest there. So they told you you're going to learn enough to be dangerous and cover a whole variety of things, and they did. So that was a good experience.
Mile wide and an inch deep.
Yes, you got
it. Yeah, just enough to get you, dangerous. Yep. Exactly. So down in Meade, what was it kind of like down there in Meade? I'm not very familiar with the community.
Yeah, it's a town of about 500 people. My wife, her whole family was within 20-mile radius of the town, and they had, her dad had 10 siblings, I guess, 10 different siblings. So a lot of people crammed in a little area. So I wasn't used to that because our family, dad's family, and is all around the states, not even close. So it was kind of different to be there and see the families all the time for every event you got together. But so very family oriented, small town. It was good, but I worked at an office job in Omaha, and offices aren't for me. So I called Dad and said, "Hey, can I come back and work?" And he said, "Sure." So
no, that's awesome. Yeah, no. Well, you can't ever figure out what you want to do until you can figure out what you don't want to do.
Very
and that's part of the process. And so figuring out what you didn't want to do is all part of that. And so coming back to York, kind of what was that like? Now having become kind of, you grew up kind of here, and then you went to college and left, and you kind of here for a little bit, and then coming back. So what was that kind of like? Coming back.
It's amazing how you don't realize it when you're gone, but when you come back, how little you keep in touch with everybody, and you see people on the streets, and it's like, "Hey, I haven't seen you in 8 years or since we graduated," and that part was pretty eye opening, I guess. Is like, hey, don't keep in touch as much as you should,
as much as we should be,
right? Yeah. So everyone's busy and everyone's got a life and this and that, and it's just an excuse, but that was very eye opening. So.
Definitely. And then what was it like coming back to the family business, if you will?
It was good. Just talking to the guys and adjusting with the crew again just took a little bit, but that was, once we got going, it was good, and we never looked back.
Most definitely. And then tell me a little bit about your wife and 2 kids, right?
Yeah, 3 now.
3 now.
Yeah. So like I said, my wife was from Meade. We got married in 2015, and when we have 3 kids, we have a 5-year-old girl, a 4-year-old girl, and an 8-month-old son.
Oh, wow.
So they keep us very busy.
No doubt. Perfect. So, Kelly, tell me a little bit about what it was like having Tyler come back. I'm sure it was, kind of a little bit of adjustment. I know he worked for A+ for quite a while and then left and then, was back again. So
yeah, no, it was a good thing. We talked before they, to make the decision and all that. Was happy to have him come back, and the future to take over the company is there now, and he brought a lot of value to being young and computer savvy or whatever you want to call it. He does pretty much all the office work now, and in the bidding and the estimating, and just sits in on pretty much every meeting that we have with new homeowners and new developers and stuff like that. So no, it was very good. Anyway, no, it's been good to have him back, and I'm hoping that someday soon I can just start slowing down,
doing less and less and
let him do more and more if he wants to.
Sure.
It's been pretty good for us the last few years, working together, I feel, and just fine tuning things, and we're always looking at better ways to do things, and more efficient, for us and helping the customer and things like that.
What were some of the kind of major milestones that you've had over the last few years with A+ Construction? You mentioned your first home was your own home.
Yeah.
What were some maybe your first major project or first like subdivision, or
So
kind of what were some of those major landmarks?
Yeah, I feel like we've been pretty fortunate. We built a lot of homes in a lot of different communities across the state of Nebraska. We've gotten into some other states a little bit too. We've done some large projects that you would call, hotel building. We built hotels, we built banks, communities. We've done complete subdivisions in towns, 20 to 30 homes. We did a 72 home neighborhood in one town that we built all the homes in. That was kind of fun. It was a process of about 10, 11 years.
What are the biggest challenges of those like big 72 like housing projects? Like, what are some of the things that you like typically run into, or what are some frustrations or things that that come with that?
There's frustrations with everything. I think weather is a big thing, and sometimes when you're further than an hour away from home, it's hard to make the decision, do we work today or not? Do we have the guys stay home? It's just a management thing can be kind of a challenge. Help, employees, we're always looking for more help.
How many employees do you have right now?
Right now there's, I don't even know for sure, six or eight. We call them full-time employees, and then we have a lot of guys that are subcontracted too that work with us. So there's probably a group of 20 or 25 of us that pretty much work together on a daily
consistently
basis.
Yeah.
So anyway, I like the challenge of making that all come together, and we're always looking for more good help. We feel real fortunate. The help we got is good and has been with us for a period of time now, so we're really happy with that. Try to treat them right so they want to stay with us.
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah. I just feel like those 72 projects, just between keeping all your pieces moving, making sure that everybody's like in and out on a time, consistent time,
Yeah, it definitely takes some management to it, and I don't know what you want to call it. Some babysitting to some.
I was gonna say it's people skills, but it's a way different type of people skills.
Yeah.
I mean, you're interacting with not really the customer. It's
Yeah. So we've got a really. I should have made some notes, but call it a good portfolio of people we built for. We built for homes for chiropractor, heart doctors, orthopedic doctors.
Do you remember
NFL football player.
Do you remember your first $1 million home? Like, which one was it?
Just what I was talking about, NFL football
The
player.
NFL football was?
Yeah.
Was that just recently? Like
a couple of years ago, 3 years ago maybe, was that one.
How'd you get in contact with that? Did he reach out, or?
Yeah, we got to know him, and he reached out and asked us about it. It was one of those projects that could be intimidating if you let it be, but I mean, it was a really fun build, and for as much as there was to the home, honestly, it was probably one of the smoothest operating jobs we've done. It just
as complex as you thought it could be.
It all come together at the end with it just literally zero problems, and it was almost unbelievable.
Couldn't ask for a better type thing. Yeah,
and good people to work with, and still turned into friends with them. We still talk quite regular, and we actually do some duck hunting with
oh, that's
him.
fun.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's fun. We meet a lot of different people with what we do, and everybody's a little bit different, but it's just a fun thing to to be involved in.
Most certainly.
Yeah.
So Tyler, talk to me a little bit about, since you do the kind of the meeting with the client, kind of what kind of things do you walk through with the client, or what type of things are you asking or wanting to get to know from that person, or how's that kind of work?
I think a lot of people come in and they just don't know where to start, and guiding people to a smooth process from beginning to end is probably it can be challenging, because everybody's got a different idea of how it should work in their head and what works with them and how we do things and stuff, and trying to make that all come together. So feeling them out and talking to them and getting everybody on the same page is probably, I wouldn't say it's a huge challenge, but it's probably a big challenge. And then once you get that all done, then you can start working on a plan with everything to getting bids and getting their house plan to get done and all those things. And then once you're all on the same page, it usually goes fairly smooth. So
yeah, it seems like it could be a daunting process coming in and trying to figure out, have all these questions, outlets and then paint and then trim and then your roof and pitch and siding and do you want stone or
right. And a lot of people come in and think they need to know all those answers first thing right out of the gate, and you can step it back and go through the process and be like, these little things here and then these things and then these things.
A checklist.
And, yes.
We have many spots in our schedule that are dedicated to selections, and it can be overwhelming with all the choices. I think that you've just gone through the bill.
Yep.
It can be overwhelming. So we try to spread that out, and it's like
Instead
you don't need to know what color light switches you want when we're trying to figure your plan out. That will come later. And then right now too, with that being said, we're in a time with finding lead times to get products is taking longer. So we are having to do some selections a lot sooner in the build than we used to. Showers, for example, like an Onyx shower. I'm going to use a name brand. Onyx is they're 12-week lead time right now. We used to see it in 3 weeks. So that adds up, and we're learning new stuff every day. So we are trying to keep on top of that, and we have been so far, but we just don't want to get behind what we need to and then hold up the project for the
because you don't get caught back up usually with those.
No, that's time. Time lost is time lost. You just don't gain that again. So that we're finding new challenges with that, COVID related or not. I mean, we just don't even know. Yeah,
we'll get to that here in a second. Yeah.
Okay. Don't mean to get ahead.
No. Yeah. No, that's great. Yeah. So growth of A+, kind of what do you see? It's been. You started in 1998, so that's been officially 23 years now.
Yeah.
So, where do you see kind of A+ kind of going? Down staying in housing, or do you ever branching into commercial? I know you mentioned you do some commercial, but where do you see yourself growing in the next 5-10 years type thing?
We'll do whatever we need to with what our world and our community turns into and needs. I believe it's going to be a lot of housing coming up here in the next few years. Call it short-term view. I don't know. I just see us building more and more houses. I think we're getting streamlined where it's a lot more efficient for us and it's more easy to handle.
Do you have designs that you usually just call upon that kind of you start with, or how's that kind of work?
We like to draft our own plans with people. So if they've got an idea of something, come in and we'll sit down and talk about it, and then we get it drawn up and fine tune it to their liking. Whether they just tool around on the internet and see some ideas or sketch something. We recently had someone sketch it on just a napkin, scratch paper, and could hardly read it, but we got it through and. Really pretty easy to get a plan made.
I want this closet 4 foot from here and this bedroom 8 foot.
Yeah. And then Tyler's got he's come up with some good ideas. We get, for preliminary numbers for people to know what it costs if they feel like they, can move forward or not. This is going to be an area with this size of a house and finishes you got. We can come up with he can, an idea pretty quickly.
What have been some of the, you mentioned a little bit the challenges that have hit you over the last kind of 12 to 18 months. I'm sure they all didn't hit you right away, but when did you start noticing, those lead times start to get bigger and, budgets start to drastically change?
Late last fall, we saw the lumber prices
start to move.
Well, early fall started to move. Then they kind of tease us a little bit and come down a little bit late fall, and then now they just jumped again. But that's when we first noticed in the pricing.
in some of the lead times on materials. And then just this last 2 months is when we've seen some real issues with not getting product when it was promised it was on
12
the truck,
weeks have come
on
and
the truck, and it wasn't, and whatever have you. But and we don't even know. You just kind of cringe what you might hear next. When you're kind of promising a customer something. But everybody's been good. They understand it's out of our control. With
it
that
really
kind of
is.
stuff.
Yeah.
It is, and let's just all be patient with each other. Well, it's just life.
Yeah, it's really frustrating, I'm sure, on both sides. I mean, you really hate telling a customer it's going to be 12 weeks, and then 12 weeks comes by, and it's not there, and then I'm sure they're just as frustrated on the other side. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, nobody's happy in those situations. Yeah. That's kind of hard to remember sometimes as a customer. You mentioned the hiring. Has that always been, I don't want to say always, has that been, an issue just like recently, or is that, is it just the nature of the beast?
It seems like it's always kind of been, because the type of work we do is physical.
Mm-hmm.
It's manual work, a lot of it. And a lot of what we do with Tyler and I here is it's more mental now and stuff than what I used to do. But you talk about challenging the last 12 to 18 months. It was last summer we were trying to hire. Tyler spent some time and got set up on an app to get a hiring app, and I don't know, we had 40, 50 apply, and he'd comb through them and started an interview, and then we'd set up an interview to come to the shop. I would finish it here, and then the second part of the interview, and never got one person to show up. They must be scared of me, I guess.
Just no show on there.
No show. And so then it turned to the point where it's like, Tyler, if they sound halfway like they got any skills that we could train them, because we can train, we would rather train,
Mm-hmm.
call them, talk with them, hire them. Send them to the job, we'll finish the interview at the job site, and your pay will be based
As soon as you get there.
between this and this, so they knew it was a good rate. And do you think we could get anybody to show up to the job?
Not even want to do that even?
No.
You talk about silver platter, just handing it out. Yeah.
So that's been a challenge, yes, the last 12 months, probably more so than ever. Anyway, we're plugging along, we're getting through it.
I guess, how do you address those hiring things? Are you doing
we pretty much give up.
Yeah.
At that point, we spent quite a bit of money on advertising with this company and couldn't make it work. And we do have a guy starting in a couple weeks. It's always somebody that knows another employee. It seems like.
Yeah, it's a connection from someone else.
It's a connection.
Referral.
And that's probably actually better then, because they already know somewhat of what we do and how we operate.
And I think that referral goes further too, because that person doesn't want to let down the person that referred them.
You're right.
Right.
Type of thing.
So I mean, we got that one, and then so we got a couple more starting here real soon. So I'm pretty excited about
Optimistic about that.
Yeah.
How many people could you hire if if a busload of 20 people who knew how to, swing a hammer, how many people could you hire off that bus?
Oh, last year I'd have said all of them.
Yeah.
I don't.
Busy enough.
I honestly think right now I could, between Tyler and I, we could manage them. If they had any sorts of skills at all, we could manage it and be just fine. We're stickler on our quality.
Mm-hmm. Of course, you need to be.
And our guys that we put with them to train them, we could break them up into groups and be just fine. We got tools and equipment. We could run 4 crews of 5 people real easily.
Really, yeah.
And the work is out there right now.
Really?
Don't know if it will be in
6 months or.
in 6 months from now, but right now it is. Yep.
That's good. Heck yeah.
And if that was the case, we could always pound the bushes a little harder and drum up some more business.
I'm sure you can find, yeah.
Oh yeah, it's out there.
Do you do any home renovation stuff or anything like that, or is it mainly new construction?
It's been mainly new construction.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we'll do an addition here or there, something like that. But mainly it's been new the last years and years.
Yeah,
here.
definitely. And so talk to me a little bit about just like the benefits of living here in York County and York, that either of you kind of see, over the years. What about this community has kept you here? You probably have had opportunities over the years to maybe move away. Tyler definitely did and then decided to come back. But, what about this community has, kept you here?
York's got a lot of good people in the town, and growing up here, knowing a lot of the people around the York area, so it's nice to be able to go downtown to the local Ace Hardware, let's say, and 80% of the people in there, it seems like, every time you walk in, you run into someone you haven't seen for a while. So that part I really enjoy about the town of York is just knowing the people that live here. So.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a good community. Obviously, there are places, that other places I could have went to or started at, but it's treated me really well, and there's, like you said, there's good people here. It's a friendly community. Call it a smaller community, if you will. I mean, it's. I said for years, I won't go to Lincoln, Omaha, and build. I want to go from, here west. I like it west of here, but we've reached out into Lincoln quite a bit this last year. But York has been good, and I think it will continue to be good. That we've had several meetings and deals that we've had to do with the city council. They've been always accommodating, and the city offices with our building stuff. It's easy for me to get along with them, and so it's just more laid back, I think you would call it.
No, that's great. That's great to hear. Yeah, so we'll swing into kind of the last bit here of the interview, our little rapid fire questions. Just trying to keep everything kind of positive here. Kind of what was the most positive part of the pandemic that you guys kind of saw? I'll go first. What I saw was, just got a little bit more time with like family. For the first time in like 20 years, we were playing board games, and things like that instead of sitting around or going out or going to a movie or going out to get dinner or anything like that. It was ordering a pizza and playing Monopoly, for the first time in a long time. So, that was kind of great. It was just being able that a lot of those distractions or those things that we felt like we needed to go to, we didn't have anymore. So that was kind of nice, as a bummer as it was not to be able to see all the friends and family and things like that. It was nice your immediate family to kind of get more time with.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Definitely spending time with my wife and my kids. We had a baby through it too, so
oh, wow, yeah.
He was born last August, so
just smack in the middle, yeah.
Yep. So that was pretty rewarding too. Was to have that, and then he kept us very busy through the winter and things like that. So that's definitely a positive part for me, also.
Yeah, it was definitely different.
Most certainly.
That I guess I thought I was going to get a lot more things tidied up. That I was waiting for a rainy day or a cold winter or something, but there's still a lot to do. So I don't know where the time went really. It seemed like a long time, but then again, it didn't. It went by pretty quick.
It did, yeah. It felt like we were in May from like May until August. It just felt like the year was not moving. You're speaking of your time and everything like that. What's your favorite way to spend your day off if you had time just to do whatever you kind of wanted? Is it just doing nothing, or is there something that you would kind of schedule out, or how would you do your day?
I'd spend time in a duck blind.
Yeah. Just all day in a duck blind?
Yep. Take some food and make some breakfast on a heater that we got in there and shoot some ducks.
Who'd come with you? Is it just you, or what?
Whoever wants to come shoot ducks. I don't.
Yeah,
I'm not
that'd be me too, because I like getting out there and trudging out there in the dark in the morning and watch the sunrise, and it's a good.
What time
is relaxing?
What time is like the perfect time to get up or be out there to go duck hunting?
Depends on, you want to be there about an hour before sunrise.
Yeah.
And get set up, and so that depends every day on the time, but it's usually at that time of year, I don't remember, 6, usually getting up around 4:30 or 5, so you're down there by 6 and in the blind, and it's a good time. It's just a quiet out, I guess.
Do you go back to South Dakota then, or do you guys stick around here, or where do you guys usually go?
We go around here. Yeah. We did go pheasant hunting in South Dakota a couple years ago.
Mhm.
Tyler.
I've heard crazy stories, yeah, about the pheasant hunting just up there, just
Yeah.
the numbers and everything like that.
There's a lot of pheasants, and then of course I got some family up there yet, and know everybody from growing up there. It's just it's nice country up there. I'm still partial to that, even though I'm in York and we're talking about York, but I'd still say that's the best place in the country.
I mean, as far as hunting goes, yeah,
Yeah.
I cannot argue with that. Yeah. Well, how about a favorite restaurant? Is there a place that, you know, whether you're hosting friends or family, or if you're just got an inkling for this kind of restaurant, what's the kind of a restaurant that's sticks out to you? It's like a favorite.
Depends on my mood, but either probably Carrie's or La Casina.
Yeah.
Either one are both pretty good.
Two populars. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Our favorite, I think, right now is Hunter's.
Oh yeah, that's a good place to get over to. Yeah,
He does a good job over there. It's just and we like going to different places, small communities, and just check them out. And see
I like getting over to the Bulldog over in Bradshaw.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. There's lots of different places around here for sure.
Yeah.
How about a favorite meal? Whether it's at one of these restaurants or like a home cooked meal. What's something that you're always kind of maybe jonesing for?
Steak and potatoes.
Yep.
Nice, classic.
Agreed.
Yeah. Prime. Or we're like, what kind? Are we like a ribeye, a New York, a sirloin? What are we?
Good old ribeye or prime rib.
Yeah.
Either one.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice. Yeah. Can't go wrong with any of that.
No.
How about a favorite memory here in York County? Something that maybe stands out.
What about you, Derek?
Oh man, my favorite memory in York County. It's probably my most I don't know if it's my favorite. It's probably my most unique memory. It was when I showed a llama at 4-H at the county fair, and that was the first time I ever got to do that. And
Sure.
that's just it goes to show growing up in a small town community, there's just 1,000 different things that you can do. I was a kid that never stepped foot on a farm, and here I am at an open 4-H show showing a llama.
Right.
And so just those types of opportunities only happen in a small town. I mean,
Maybe my favorite memory was Tyler Goetz. Remember him?
oh yeah.
Him and I and a couple other buddies jumped on a bunch of four-wheelers and drove down the bypass before it was paved.
Oh yeah, that's a good time.
Yeah,
that would be fun. That's a good one.
I don't want to say I influenced it, but I was one of them.
I was right there.
Yeah, that was
That's a good time. Yeah, it is. I remember me and my dad rode our bicycle, rode our bicycles, up and down that thing. Yeah, before it was all done.
and then it was in the paper the next week here to not be
Please keep your.
not be traveling on unpaved.
Whoops.
Yep.
Anyway, it was
So that
a
would be
one-time
fun.
deal. Let's say that.
Yeah.
So if you could spend 10 days in anywhere part of the world, where would that be? If you could travel, spend anywhere, where would you head to for 10 days?
I'd go to the mountains, away from civilization, to clear your head a little bit.
Somewhere in Wyoming or something?
Yeah,
like that?
Wyoming, Colorado,
Nice.
somewhere like that. Yeah.
Kelly?
It'd probably be somewhere on a beach.
Somewhere warm?
Yeah, we kind of were enjoying doing that every year until this pandemic hit, and then
Where have you traveled?
Turks and
recently?
Caicos, Jamaica a couple times.
We're at in Jamaica, like Montego or Negril.
We were Negril and Ocho Rios.
I stayed in Negril about 3-4, no, a while, longer than that. But yeah, Negril's kind of an interesting little place.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't stay on a big resort. It was like this little the whistling bird. It's just this tiny little. The guy's from Colorado originally.
Oh, really?
And his family moved down there, and then he just stayed down there and ran the business, and
Yeah.
it was kind of an interesting little place, just like
I think
a 16 little room right on
I think
the.
I've heard of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, Tyler and Megan went with us to Negril,
Mm-hmm.
and probably the best part of that was we went off the resort just down the beach and got a live lobster and a crab.
Oh,
and
yeah.
cooked it up right there, and they really know how to cook on an open fire, and it was excellent.
Mm-hmm.
So if I could go somewhere for 10 days right now, that's where I'd go.
Jamaica was great. The water is just so awesome. What's a favorite kind of local event that you're looking forward to every year? Whether it's like the Sip and Stroll that happens downtown, or York Fest, or whether the community celebrations, getting down to Waco Day, when Waco has their community celebration, or Bradshaw Days.
Yeah, I remember going to Bradshaw Days back when we were in high school and college, and that was always a good time going to all those. But street dances, I guess. Yeah. Yep, I enjoyed doing that quite a bit.
Yeah, I guess I kind of like the firework frenzy here in
Yeah.
New York now, especially now we just sit and
I was
shout
gonna say,
right out
you
back.
guys can just open up the door.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
We shut the lights
I'll
off.
have to remember that. Yeah, for this upcoming year.
Yeah. Yeah, come on by.
That'd be awesome. Heck yeah.
We usually got a few people around here.
Awesome. So we'll just kind of wind down the interview here. We'll talk about kind of stay positive. What's kind of making us happy currently. So I'll go first. I'm just really excited just seeing events open back up. Like I know more sporting events are just getting back to like even 50% crowds and things like that. Being able to just do more things. So yeah, just getting the world opening back up has been really great lately. That's just been a lot of fun to see.
I would agree with that.
Yeah, that's definitely a plus, because it was, like I said, it went quick, but when you think back, it was a long time. And
Oh man,
it was. I think it was hard on a lot of people, and it's good. And I think, I don't know, hopefully people are nicer to each other after the whole thing, and then, because it's just part of life. It's one of those things that happen.
It certainly stunk for everyone. I don't think anyone really,
Don't think anyone
enjoyed
that. No.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Well, awesome. Thank you for everything. It's been a great few minutes, you're sitting down with you and everything. So I just want to thank you, and I also want to thank our investors again. So Cornerstone Bank, MPPD, Henderson State Bank, York State Bank, Southeast Community College, Moguls, and Pellet Technology USA. Just some more supporters that we have, and we want to thank them for being supporters. So I'll leave you guys to say whatever. I usually just let my guests close out with a quote, words of wisdom, anything you want to say to just kind of close out the interview. Just kind of share what you want. So I'll let you guys kind of say what you want. I'll give you each kind of a chance to kind of give your little elevator pitch or sales pitch or whatever you want to do.
Yeah. Well, thanks for coming up and doing this.
Thank you.
It's been good. No words of wisdom, I guess, other than, I don't know, it's been good being in York. York's treated us well, and I'm glad for that, and hope we
return the favor.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thanks, guys.
Thank you.
This is 17 County, brought to you by the York County Development Corporation in Nebraska. For more information about life and opportunity in the Heartland, visit yorkdevco.com. Come grow with us. And if you liked this episode, be sure to rate and review 17 County on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen.